Hey everybody, welcome to Hit Rewind. This episode is another special one where we take some superhero teams of our youth, now, whatever. We don't read comics, we're adults, that's right. I'm your host, Michael. John's on the other side. Huh?
What do you mean we don't read comics?
No, I tried to... Someone asked me if I read a lot at my new job, and for some reason I was hesitant. After all these fucking years, I still feel like a nerd. And they're like, what do you read? And I was like, well, I just, I know it sounds silly, but, I'm just trying to make all the excuses I can. I was like, I just want to completely disconnect from reality, so I just read comic books a lot.
Yeah, yep. It's like, I'm unapologetic about my reading.
I'm a fucking spineless ding-dong, that's it.
Well, I will always say, comics are dumb, and then that's exactly why I love them.
Well, I just can't. I think my eyesight's starting to go too, so it just makes it easier to read comic books. But I've always only read like nonfiction and comics, like real fiction. You got to get me immediately, or I'm fucking out. Yeah, at least if the comic sucks, I can look at the pretty pictures.
I admit it's been a while since I've read a full book in. It's like, God, what was the last? It was a C. Robert Cargill book, like Sea of Rust or something.
Really?
Like that.
I listen to his podcast all the time. I never read his stuff.
Oh, it's that one's amazing.
Okay. I think I went to a thrift store recently, and they had like a sale, and I just went through their hardback books. I found a bunch of Stephen King's without the covers, without the it's the full book, with an actual cover, but we call it dust jacket. No dust jackets on it, and I picked up a Mickey Spillane collection, and I'll read those about 20 years from now.
Hey, that's not what this podcast is about,
No, it's not. I don't know where we went. We do this. So the superhero team that we chose, this time I was more prepared because last time I didn't really lay out the rules. I also didn't realize that we could do more than one version of a team, even though, there's like 80 different Avengers teams over the last decade. So this time we just chose the X-Men, and we chose 3 different styles of teams. One tactical, one more like presenting... I chose like one more of the secret missions that aren't seen by the public. One that was more like what team do you want to show, making statements and stuff like that, and the whole world gets to know. And then the school, the ones that still need training. Not necessarily the school, but I mean like very early stages, like Generation X and New Mutants, X-Force, that kind of stuff. Early X-Force.
Yeah. Now I do have to wonder, what do you know about the current X-Men?
Nothing. I have not read X-Men since Joss Whedon's run, The Astonishing. So what, 15 years?
Oh man, do you want me to just go and spoil what's happened to him?
Yeah, you do whatever you want to do. I will not remember. I don't even know who you are right now or what I'm even doing here. That's how bad my memory is right now. So no, go ahead and spoil away, because I'm never going to catch up. I'm just not. It's the one team where I was hardcore into it from... I've read some of the older stuff, like went back and read like Days of Future Past and stuff like that, and like the first run of... Well, actually, no, I did read everything Claremont did. I think up until about... When did he quit? I want to say after Age Apocalypse, it got a little shaky.
Well, he quit. He quit after like the first 3 issues of X-Men, and then came back when in the two.
Yeah, I remember reading a lot when Fabian Nicieza, or whatever you say his name is.
Yeah, Nicieza.
Okay. Yeah, I read a bunch of that. So I read basically from 86, I want to say, up until, 97, 98? Because I do remember reading, what was the one where Havoc went into an alternate reality?
That's Mutant X.
Mutant X, nothing to do with the TV show. And I read a bunch of Exiles, but by that point I was just out of the X-Men. I wasn't really interested. I read a lot of the spin-offs. I've read some of the X-Force, though, over the last 15 years or so.
Well, basically, currently, now this is all under Jonathan Hickman's tutelage, so you can love it or hate it, sort of things. I think the setup for it is a lot better than what they've overall done with the line.
Yeah.
But basically, it turns out that I'm sure you remember Moira McTaggart.
Yes.
She's actually a mutant.
Oh.
And not only is she a mutant, her power is effectively every time she dies, the world resets, and she can basically, her life is tied to the world itself.
That's crazy.
And she has lived, I think this is her 10th life.
Whoa.
The current thing is her 10th life, and she's basically been trying to figure out the solution to the effectively the mutant problem. Let's just say it. We'll say it like that. The idea that no matter what happens when mutants arrive, at some point Sentinels happen and the world is wiped out because robots take over and every shit goes bad.
Okay.
So she's basically kind of like, she's, been aligned with Xavier to an end. She's been aligned with Magneto to an end. She's been aligned with Apocalypse to an end.
Oh, yeah, okay. Mr. Sinister, too, yeah.
Yeah, she's gone full on friend of humanity. And basically it's like she's... The way that she kind of figured things would have to work is she had to, quote-unquote, die, and kind of with both Magneto and Xavier kind of run the world, mutants line in the world from the shadows. So effectively, since her death, her quote-unquote death from the legacy virus onward, has been a huge manipulation of everything to kind of get the X-Men to at least this point where they now have an island nation called Krakoa, the Living Island, and they're basically Krakoa is for all mutants, and everyone, all heroes, villains, they're all on this island. They have their own laws. They basically became their own full-on country.
Okay.
And so from that point on, you've got all these teams and stuff like that. Like, everything kind of disseminates from there. And overall, I think there's only maybe 2 or 3 really solid titles that came out of this. Because X-Force was really good, but it's really New Mutants and Marauders, which are like the strongest things. And Marauders is basically Kitty Pryde on a boat.
I remember that, wasn't there Marauders around the late 80s? They're like robotic, cybernetic. I think it's something else. Could have sworn they're villains.
They were villains. It was Sinister's team that had like Sabretooth and all that.
Yeah.
Stuff on them.
I'm trying to remember, yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's little bits and pieces. Like, I remember picking up some of the, where it's the younger X-Men and they get thrust into the future, and I read Iceman's solo series, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, we did that.
Yeah, and I think that's about it.
Yeah, all this is afterwards, and it's... They had a point where they had set up an entire huge event at one point that should have been the most earth-shattering event for the X-Men, and it kind of lands with a wet fart, really. Well, okay. In one of Moira's previous lives, she runs afoul Mystique and Destiny, and she's at that point, I think, trying to cure mutants, just trying to get rid of the X gene altogether. And at that point, Destiny realized, the way her powers seem to work with Moira's is that if Destiny becomes aware that Moira is a mutant, she'll know what's going on. And, basically, all these past lives, she'll remember everything that Moira has done, and basically kind of like all the war crimes against mutant kind that she's done. And effectively, once in this current storyline, since Destiny's dead, and I think I forgot to mention, X-Men have cured death. They have a way to not only back up everyone's their entire personality and everything, memories, all that stuff, but they can actually regenerate your body and your mutant powers. So death is effectively meaningless to the X-Men now.
Yay.
Which,
Doll.
well, they did find a way to kind of run themselves into a corner with Cyclops, where he very publicly gets killed and now can't be Cyclops anymore.
Okay.
Lily
He's
Scott Summers,
the leader of Krakoa or whatever he was.
Yeah, he's now Captain Krakoa or some bullshit like that. And I just kind of wanted to stop reading the new X-Men line from that, but at the same time they've got some interesting ideas there too. But anyway. But so one of the things was Mystique wanted her wife back, and they just kind of had her in the resurrection queue. Oh yeah, don't worry. You keep doing stuff for us, and we'll keep moving her forward. But we got to make sure that Forget-Me-Not gets resurrected first. I mean, everyone needs to remember Forget-Me-Not. It basically kind of like keeping Mystique occupied and busy while they just don't bring back Destiny.
Okay.
And so you have this setup where basically in their past life, Destiny knows that at some point in the future, Krakoa is going to happen, and if they don't resurrect her, burn the fucking place to the ground.
Whoa!
And the entire thing was setting up because all the comics and stuff have been reusing titles of events and stuff like that, and they were reusing Inferno. You'd think that if you're going to do Inferno, basically it would be the culmination of this storyline, and effectively one issue into it, Destiny gets resurrected, and oh boy, by the way, everyone knows that, well, not everyone, the council that runs Krakoa knows where Vitagrant was running things. Oh, and we depowered her. The end. And it's like, that's
not
it?
cool, bro.
And well, it's like kind of like that's it. That's your entire. This is this thing that should really truly be earth shattering in this line, and well, then they continued on with another site kind of event that then ended up they kind of killed Moira, except now she's in a robot body, and I don't know, X-Men comics, dumb. But I still love comics, so even if they're convoluted as fuck.
Sometimes.
But anyway, but that's kind of it. So.
Okay.
But so you want? How about I go first with my X-Men team?
Okay.
All right.
So, we're doing one team each. Like we're doing one team, then I do one, you do one, I do one. Is that how we're doing it?
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Yes. So yeah, my team, since these are going to be the face of mutant kind, I'm going to have Kate Pryde. She's going to be the team leader because she's, aside from having her phasing abilities, she's a fucking ninja. She was trained by Wolverine, and she was also Star-Lord. So you know what? Let's have someone who's actually led intergalactic teams.
Yeah.
Who's the Red Queen of the Hellfire Club.
Wow.
Basically, she's like everything Scott Summers wishes he was. We also would have, and I'm kind of pulling some of these characters from alternate worlds too, because I want Nocturne. T.J. Wagner is the multiversal daughter of Nightcrawler and Scarlet Witch, and while she has a lot of Nightcrawler's physical abilities, she can't teleport, but she can possess other people.
That's cool.
And she can also has these like little hex bolt things that are basically like little explosive links to the little world that Nightcrawler jumps through. So that's pretty freaking handy. I would have Polaris, so you have your Magneto, but as opposed to Magneto, who's probably, maybe more powerful, Lorna's a lot more clever with her use of powers. There's actually one of the issues of X-Men not too long ago. She basically manipulates Laura Kinney's Wolverine after she's knocked unconscious.
Uh-huh.
Just manipulates her like a puppet and goes around and fucks people up.
That's cool.
You gotta have a powerhouse, and I got Rogue. Because, come on, flight, invulnerable, super strong, borrow powers when needed. One person wrecking ball. One character you probably don't know is Trinary.
No idea.
She's a technopath. In a way, Cypher. Like how Cypher basically is a mutant who knows all languages.
Right.
Trinary basically can speak to electronic.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
And everything.
Okay.
And like she was in this series called X-Men Red a few years back, and like she basically reprogrammed a Sentinel just off the bat. So just imagine if people wanted to bring back bring back the Sentinels, you're going to want to have Trinary on your side.
Okay, that's cool.
I'd have Sync, who is on the current team.
Yeah, I don't know that one either.
He's from Generation X, and basically his power is that he can duplicate any superpower in his vicinity, and then also immediately master it.
Okay.
You know, consider how overpowered some of these characters are, and he could do it better. He is probably the most powerful character in the Marvel Universe.
Oh, really?
On Earth.
Huh.
And then finally, I'd have the Stepford Cuckoos, who are the 5-in-1 group of telepaths who were cloned from Emma Frost.
All right, that's weird.
I'll say this: I would not want to get into their thing because it involves the world and like effectively the weapon plus program and all that shit.
Okay.
But basically, on their own, they're pretty powerful telepaths. But as a group, they're basically like almost unstoppable. But that would be my X-Men team.
Okay, so my first, the kind of the face, the one that the big adventures, like I said, doing the who the people know who they are. Cyclops. Now, mind you, like I said, I don't know what's been going on the last so many years, so I'm just kind of old school on my team, so I apologize. Beast. Yes, visually he could be horrifying, but he's so jovial and intelligent, and then everybody loves him. Everybody loves him. That's why so many people want him on his team. Wants him on their team. Angel, who I think is underrated, and not Archangel. By the way, does he have his wings back, or is it still the blades?
He does. He has both. I can't remember exactly why he can switch between the two.
Yeah, because I remember after Age of Apocalypse, I think that he started to shed the blades and get his old wings back. I don't know. I just really like Angel, and I think he's a horribly underrated character. And then I still call her Shadowcat. I know it's Kitty Pryde, but Shadowcat. Yeah. Cannonball and Sunspot together are a great duo, and I think that they would be great for the public to see. It doesn't hurt that also Sunspot and Angel have lots of money to fund this team.
Yeah, that always helps. And yes, you always got to have Sam, who's nigh invulnerable when he's blasting.
Yeah, but I was just thinking, like, who better to put forward like a marketing team to make the mutants more acceptable to the standard public? And just like, oh, these guys could afford that. And then this one is, I didn't know was a mutant until recently, till you told me, but I've always been a real big fan of Captain Britain, now Captain Avalon. I thought his run with the MI3, M13, MI3, I can't remember now.
No. Captain Britain, if you're talking about Brian Braddock, he is not a mutant.
He isn't a mutant. Okay,
no. The current, I think it was, as I was telling you, it's Betsy Braddock who's Captain.
Yeah, but I thought that he was because he's now Captain Avalon.
No, he still has his weird mystical.
Fuck it. He's still part of that universe. Ever since Excalibur, he's been part of that universe. So he's acceptable. He's like one of the little loopholes, but he's like.
I allow it.
Yeah, he's good for the international stuff and government and military kind of connections.
If Juggernaut can be on an X-Men team, Captain Britain can be on an X-Men team.
Yeah, okay, there we go. That's true. So that's my leadership, world global kind of team.
Okay. What about your Generation New Mutant, what I refer to as New Generation Mutants X Academy?
Okay, so led by Domino, I needed somebody with experience. And I'm tired of Cable, and his whole thing just doesn't seem to be working. I never really was interested in the comics anyway, but Domino's awesome. So her team of the young upstarts are Cloak and Dagger.
Okay.
Jubilee. I know she's not that powerful, but I just love that character. Warlock, Blink, and Firestar.
Okay, all right.
So it's a very girl-heavy team, and I don't give a shit. Power is power.
I'll tell you this much. I had noticed with my X-Men team that was pretty much all ladies Actually, it is all ladies except for Sync.
Well, I'm just thinking that so many of these teams seem to be male-oriented, and really Claremont put forward the idea that, it's even balanced or more towards the women.
Yeah, well, it's also A lot of times the ladies have the better powers anyway. If you're looking at a balance.
Okay, what is your newer team?
All right. Okay, so my kids, I'm kind of looking at it in the sense of like the new X-Men Academy X run, where it's a team kind of overseen. Like, I don't give a shit who's teaching these kids anything. They're guidance counselors. They're people who kind of like just looking out for them is what I'm a little more looking at. And I have three people watching over these kids, where I have Kid Omega, Armor, and Squirrel Girl as basically the camp counselors.
Okay, that's the only one I knew was Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, Quentin Quire, aka Kid Omega, was from the Grant Morrison run, and he's still around.
Okay.
Basically, he's a pain in the ass. He's a mega level telepath and telekinetic. He's got a psionic shotgun. Think of it like Psylocke's little side blades.
Right, so it's focused, yeah.
Yeah. And he basically is this kid who was an anarchist who wanted to like overthrow things and I'm rabble. Putting him in actually making him be in charge of younger kids, I think would do him a little bit of good. But then also team him up with Armor, who's basically she's got this ability to create impenetrable psionic armor, which also gives her like superhuman strength, agility, endurance, all that stuff. Basically, she's kind of like Kitty Pryde, where she really quickly became an X-Men.
Yeah.
And she was also one of Logan's many young girl proteges.
Yeah, was there a character in the late 90s that had that power as well, like Cecilia Reyes or something?
She is like force field. She's kind of like, if I remember right, she's kind of like the Invisible Woman in that regard. I might be wrong. Everyone's abilities always seem to change.
Okay, that's true.
Basically, she's like a huge red suit of armor around her.
All right.
But then I also have Squirrel Girl there. She's the only one I would technically consider a teacher, because the other two are there to be like, oh, we're gonna train you how to fight and make tactical decisions and shit. Squirrel Girl is basically there to teach them to not be dicks. Be functional people in this world. But this team would be Hope Summers, who's the mutant messiah, where she can basically start dormant mutant powers, and her power is kind of like a mix of Rogue and Sinks, where she can kind of like borrow people's abilities and supercharge them, and effectively she's the Deus Ex Machina X-Men character.
Okay.
I want Oya, who's one of a newer character, one of the first mutants to come to appear after Hope Summers really physically appeared.
So she's named after the failed game system. Gotcha.
Yep. And she can she has temperature manipulation, where she can create fire with one hand and ice with the other. And basically, she kind of has that Wolfsbane, tragic past, where she was basically told that she's the spawn of Satan and all that kind of stuff, and she's an evil monster, and people have been kind of getting her out of that mindset, and definitely around some of these kids would be good to be around. I'd have Genesis, who's the clone of a child version of Apocalypse, who was raised in a simulation that was kind of like Superman's childhood. And he's basically is Apocalypse.
Okay.
But younger and much, much better. I have Gentle, who is this Wakandan mutant who can increase his muscle mass to extreme levels. So much so that it's possible for him to go toe-to-toe with the Hulk.
Wow.
Yeah, the problem is it really hurts him when he does this, so it's like he kind of has these mental blocks that can prevent him from truly using his powers to the fullest. Enol basically is this lizard person. He's got scaly skin, he can walk on rolls, he's got adaptive camouflage and regenerate his limbs, and he's actually like a fun person, so let's not entirely have an entire team filled with
Moby Dopes.
Angst and shit. Surge from the new X-Men run, who can absorb electricity and channel it into like lightning blast or super speed. Basically, with Hope on the team, you might be able to get her a way to actually learn how to use her powers, and so she just needs gloves that keep her from like burning herself out. And finally, Honey Badger, because I'm not calling her Scout, is Gabby Kinney, the clone of X-23 of Laura Kinney.
Okay.
She has regeneration. She's got a single claw on both of her hands, and she can't feel any pain. And she's also like the most happy-go-lucky, upbeat person who definitely would work with Enel to be the biggest pranksters of an entire team and have fun. Basically, kind of like was it Strong Guy and Multiple Man from
X-Force, X-Factor.
Yeah, X-Factor run. Yeah,
Guido.
Yep. You gotta have some fun people.
Yeah.
So now your X-Force team.
Okay, so more of the tactical. Going with Storm as the leader. Honestly, there are times when she's a much better leader than Cyclops. But I had to have 3 different teams. Originally, I only had one team, and this is the team that I went with. Iceman, one of the most powerful mutants on the planet. Because he can literally just stop the blood flow in your body if he wanted to. He can freeze the ice in your spine, and no more blood goes to your brain, and you're dead. I also think just the way he can manipulate like stuff and create. He was always my favorite character because of the cartoon when I was a kid. And I love the fact that his solo series was so good. Sadly, it didn't sell very well, so it didn't last very long. Rogue. And I don't think she's underrated, and I just think she's just a true powerhouse. Not only because of the powers that she already has, that she originally took from Captain Marvel,
from Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel,
right? Miss Marvel, yeah.
and a little bit of Wonder Man,
and then she can just take powers from whoever she wants. And I thought that was a really great person to have on the team. Sorry, I got distracted by something in the window. Pure Force, we have Colossus. Havoc, I think, is a good runner-up in case Storm gets taken out as a leader, and I think he's incredibly powerful. Not so much for the silent missions, though. I actually haven't really understood his power, because what I saw in First Class and the power that you see in the comics, for some reason in my head, I thought that was more Sonic Blast, and I'm not sure I understand exactly what it is now. Microwave Blast?
Something like that. It's energy of some kind.
Okay. Boy, they threw his character away in that first movie, too. And how is it his brother is so much younger? Nightcrawler, especially for the fact that he just can teleport in and out of places, without anybody expecting it. Plus, his sword fighting and agility is just incredible. And I was torn on this one. I'm literally ready to say a name, but I'm going to say another name. It's not a popular name anymore, but Marrow.
Okay.
I was going to go with Longshot, but I pulled out Longshot because I feel like Nightcrawler kind of covers his bases, and Havoc covers the projectiles. I want to go with Marrow. She's just brute, savage force that can be unleashed and just tear somebody up. Is she still around? Is she dead?
Yeah, she's back. She's alive. Again.
Okay.
God, I want to say, she's done some stuff in the New Mutants. No, sorry. No, recent thing was Secret X-Men, where at one point she's out in space and she decides to use her bone stuff to make a spacesuit. Apparently, it works.
I always thought it was bullshit in that one X-Men movie where instead of Marrow, they just had some dude with the same powers. He just threw them at people. Remember, he get him from his wrist. He made bone throwing kind of fragments.
Yeah, it was a weird choice to do.
Yeah. What movie was that? That was
X-Men 3.
The Last Stand. Yeah, I don't hate that one, but that is a mess. Okay, your turn.
All right, my final one. My X-Force is definitely a lot more Black Ops. Effectively, I'm looking at this like it would definitely be a Max title. It would be violent and bloody, and these are the sort of people who would truly do the things that need to be done and not necessarily lose any sleep over it.
Yeah, not let anybody know about it either.
Yeah, so now this also in the same way, kind of like with my Justice League, where I had their Black Ops team. I have a overall organizer, and in this case is Sage, because basically she has a superhuman computer brain.
Okay.
Effectively. So she can basically she's Oracle with better multitasking powers and more, but that in the for this simple thing, that's basically what she's there for, is to literally run everything and figure out every single possible thing that they need to know. You would have Logan Wolverine. You know, he's definitely you definitely want to have him on any kind of Black Ops thing, tracking, hunting, everything. Blink, and I want the Age of Apocalypse Exiles version of her.
Yeah.
Who's a lot more combat-oriented and experienced, and while I know her main Marvel Universe version died, like, after 2 issues, I know she got resurrected, and I believe she's alive again. I mean, even before Krakoa stuff, I think she was alive again, but I don't want that version of her. Phantom X. Now, that's a character I know I mentioned to you.
Yeah, I barely know who that is. I feel like I've seen him in a little bit here and there.
Yeah, basically, he's a spy. He can create highly realistic illusions that he uses, like, misdirection.
Okay.
He has, like, kind of like a computerized brain as well, where he can, you know, I think it's like he has effectively 3 brains, effectively. And his nervous system is external and is a sentient spaceship called Eva. And yes, those are words that came out of my mouth.
Yeah, I was... What?
Okay, I'd also have Mystique on this team. I think that's about all I need to say from there.
Right.
Pete Wisdom. You have a fucking British spy. He can create knives of this hot energy from his fingertips. They can also shoot out at people. And he's also a surly prick. And I would really like to have a surly prick on a team with Mystique, Phantom X, and this next person, Domino.
Okay.
Because, of course, mercenary with luck powers. You know, where else would you put this person? Granted, you said in charge of children, and hey, she was in charge of children for a while, but... Now, my last one is a very deep cut. Character called Prudence. Not very well known, but...
Yeah, I have no idea.
She's from this Mystique series that was in 2004, and she can side jump into other women.
Oh. But she can't front jump or back jump? It's just a jump to the left.
Just the side, yep. She, you know, her conscious enters them and she can control them.
So kind of like Jericho with Teen Titans?
Yeah. She was basically working as a spy for Xavier in that series.
Okay.
So I kind of think, you know what? That would be a very useful power as well. As, again, possession works really well.
Do you know how happy I am that neither one of us said maggot? What a fucking useless.
Oh, no. See, if I really wanted to do it, I should have had Adam X the Extreme.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, he is the most 90 of 90s type characters.
Pouches?
Pouches, backwards cap, goatee. He could he could cut you and make your blood burn. And for a long time, he was supposed to be the third Summers brother.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember his character at all.
Oh, he is fucking terrible. But, no, he's just fucking terrible.
Okay, there you go. No redemption. Alright, so that is our list. What have we decided to do for the next superhero one? We're going to go back to DC? We're going to jump over into Image? Make like an ultimate team out of all those characters? Or
I think we maybe do something like a Teen Titans and, I don't know, do one of Marvel. Well, actually, no, we should probably do a full DC thing.
Yeah, maybe we can do a mixture of Titans and Outsiders or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But definitely I want to do the Titans next, and we'll just team them with someone else. GSA, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
Alrighty. Alright, so that's the end of this episode. Where can we check you out, John? Besides in the bathroom window. Oops.
Now I'm a little paranoid. Thank you. No, I'm on Twitter. Musician MYUZISHION.
All right, and hit rewind at all the social medias and podcast hosts. Share, subscribe, and comment. Let us know how we're doing. If there's anything that we haven't covered yet on the comic book discussion that you want us to.
Hey,
And
tell
that
us-
what?
Give us some of your X-Men recommendations.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm gonna get Jacob to come on and maybe do a whole episode where he discusses his teams too. Like, not as intricate as the way we did it with 3, but like 1 of each. So that is it. Everybody, have a good night.
See ya.